Welcome to PRM Media Channel. We continue to interview with the experts of the industry, and today our guest is from Tarsus Group, Latin America Tarsus Group, Mr. Paul San Amour, and he is the Vice-President of the Latin America Tarsus Group. Hello, Mr. Amour.
How are you?
Thank you, and how are you today?
I'm doing very well, thank you very much.
Thanks so much, and let's start with PLASTIMAGEN. And my question is, I would like to ask, because recently we have COVID-19 process, like COVID-19 situation, and what is the current situation for PLASTIMAGEN 2021?
Okay, well, so PLASTIMAGEN was supposed to be actually this week in Mexico. So it was supposed to be PLASTIMAGEN 2020. And then PLASTIMAGEN's on an 18-month schedule. So our next show was March of 2022. Given COVID, we couldn't do, well, we decided not to do the show in November. I mean, this week, obviously, because the hall is still a hospital until the end of the year. So, I mean, we were able to do the show. So we were debating between, just postponing the show directly to March of 2022, or whether we would just postpone the 20 show into 21. And we surveyed all of our exhibitors because the show, luckily for us, it was very well sold, because we have a great rebook from the 2019 show. And so anyway, in talking to our exhibitors, we found that there was a small minority, a large minority of our exhibitors who do not want to wait until 2022 to do something to promote themselves in the industry. So we looked at the different options and the availability of dates, in the facility, because obviously there's been so many changes with trade shows are a big issue for 2021. And we created this, what we're calling PLASTIMAGEN Light, to differentiate it from a full PLASTIMAGEN. So what we're going to be presenting in March of 2021 is not nearly as big and international and robust as a normal PLASTIMAGEN. But what we found from our exhibitors is that there are enough that do want to do something because they think it's important to promote themselves. So the PLASTIMAGEN Light of 2021 is going to be like we use the word light because it's going to be, it's going to be smaller. It's going to have less international exhibitors. It'll have less machines. It will obviously have less visitors, but it will be like a light version of PLASTIMAGEN. And so any of our exhibitors who for November of 2020 have the right to they can participate in any way that they would like, with a smaller space, there's no penalties or anything. They can just choose to participate how they want. But then we're also adding, which is available for everyone, but more importantly for the international exhibitors, which is important for the big number of Taiwanese companies who normally participate in PLASTIMAGEN, is we'll have a digital or a virtual program with it. So companies who were contracted and paid to date for PLASTIMAGEN 2020 will be able to participate at no cost in the digital version. So I mean, it's not a huge, virtual trade show, because we will have a live trade show. We will have digital options for exhibitors who are unable to participate because their companies won't let them participate in trade shows in the first half of 21, or because of travel restrictions, they're not able to come to Mexico in 2021. But we'll still have this this digital format, or a hybrid format, so that they will hopefully be able to make contacts with buyers in Mexico, because there are certain parts of the plastics industry that are doing well. Obviously, everything to do with medical is doing well, because of COVID. And we just felt it was important not to lose an entire 18 months. So our last March of 2019. Our next full PLASTIMAGEN will be in March 2022. But 3 years is a very long time, and working with our association, and we work very closely with ANIPAC in Mexico, which is the Mexican Plastics Industry Association. The companies feel it's important to do something to promote themselves. They can't go 3 years without having any promotion. So that's sort of why we created PLASTIMAGEN Light, and that's what we're planning on doing in March of 2021.
Oh, actually, it's really interesting. You just mentioned actually about PLASTIMAGEN Light. And most of the concern of Taiwanese manufacturer, that is why we have closed, is what is going to be the difference. For example, if they attend to Mexico, or they just show like in your online exhibition version, they would like to know, like, for example, what is the main difference between normal PLASTIMAGEN and this PLASTIMAGEN Light?
I mean, the main difference, we think. I mean, obviously, we're in the process of talking to all the exhibitors and finalizing details, but I would say the major difference is this one will be very, very Mexican. So there'll probably be very little international participation, given the travel restrictions that are going on. So for your companies, everyone knows PLASTIMAGEN is enormously international, with international pavilions from 15 countries around the world. A huge U.S. and Canadian participation, a big European participation, a huge Asian participation. I mean, we imagine that for the most part, those international companies will not participate live at the show in March, just for reasons of COVID. And we also think there'll be a lot less machinery, because obviously the cost of bringing the machinery, I think, logistically, it's just complicated where we are, given the pandemic. So, but we do have a very large number of Mexican exhibitors in the show, and international exhibitors that have Mexican offices, or representative offices. So I think, our goal is to have somewhere around 150 companies participating live on the show floor. But what we wanted to do with the digital version is just give that opportunity for the companies who cannot come for reasons outside of their control to at least to do some promotion. So there's going to be, options for them to do live demonstrations, through the virtual function. They'll be able to put on, each company will have what we call like a landing page, in our website, be able to see, because we also know that, the visitor numbers are going to be down, but our pre-registration numbers are not down. So for individuals, for the companies, the buyers who are looking for these products, if they can't come, they can at least go online and see, what the companies are offering are out there. They can make contact directly with the exhibitors, both live and digitally, through a chat function. They can request meetings. They can, have Zoom meetings with exhibitors. So, it's really what we're trying to create is a hybrid version of PLASTIMAGEN to allow, the companies that have been with us for so many years, and in so many cases, to at least be able to promote themselves in this period where we're not having a real live PLASTIMAGEN.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Amour. It was a question actually most of our companies, customers also ask how the online version of the exhibition is going to be look like. So you already described the platform, but I would like to ask about the exhibition in Mexico, because COVID-19 is still exists, and there will be some exhibitors and visitors in the field. So, how do you ensure the safety during this time? Like, what kind of
Yeah, I mean that's a very good question. So the Mexican trade show industry, as well as the convention center, which includes the convention centers and working with the Mexican government, has created like it's being created in Germany and and in China after China reopened, is all the safety and hygiene protocols that are necessary. So right now, I mean, obviously, we're in a situation now in November where there's certain rules. We're not sure what the exact rules will be in March, but in general, we can imagine, there'll be things like there'll be temperature checks at the door. There will be, lots of good deep cleaning. There'll be gel, hand gel sanitizers everywhere. Convention center, all of the exhibitors and the staff will have to wear, both face coverings as well. In Mexico, you have to wear the shields as well to cover your eyes. So for the visitors right now, the policy in Mexico is that visitors should not stay more than 2 hours at a show. So their temperatures are checked when they come in. They also walk through these like these pads that clean their feet, which is something that they do in Mexico, for the virus. The stands will be very much spread out. So there'll be lots of distance. There'll be limits on attendee numbers. So, for Centro City Banamex, it's all going to depend on how big hall we're eventually going to be using, which will be based on depending on how many companies are participating. But there'll be a maximum number of visitors. So there's control mechanisms at the door that count every person going in, every person going out, and then that number is shown to ensure proper social distancing. I mean, obviously, we're looking at something that's 4 months away. So in 4 months, it's possible that there's going to be more advances on the rapid testing. So it might be that, that there's rapid testing being done at the show. I mean, again, there's so many changes that are happening, right? And it all depends on what the government is allowing us to do. But overall, I mean, based on our experience that we've seen so far in Mexico, there's been and in Mexico City over the last couple of months, and we'll be following all of the hygiene and safety protocols to make sure that the events are safe. Obviously, contactless. The whole registration process is contactless, so you're not having to touch things. One of the other things in Mexico, you're not allowed to be handing out brochures at all. Everything has to be done through QR codes and electronic PDFs and things like that. We won't be putting in, just other things. We're not putting in aisle carpeting to not have the virus be in the carpeting. It's from the floor. The hall is doing much more cleaning than they've ever done. Much more sanitizing of everything. So I mean, again, we're lucky as being a multinational that has an operation in China. So we've been doing shows in China now since July, since China reopened. So we do have some experience as a company of how you do safe events. But I think in general, it'll be quite similar to a regular trade show. It's just going to be with less people, more distance, and everyone's going to have face coverings. And everyone will be washing their hands a lot.
And also, I have a question. Since according to the normal schedule for PLASTIMAGEN, is each 1.5 year, right? Different. So, but next year we're going to have PLASTIMAGEN Light that is going to be in March, but also you have a schedule PLASTIMAGEN 2022 for March, like 1 year different. Why you took the decision like just do it 1 year different instead of 1.5 years different?
Well, because I mean, PLASTIMAGEN is a very big show. We use the entire convention center. We coordinate the show because it's so international. We have to coordinate with the other big international shows around the world. So our dates are scheduled now from 2022 to 2030. So there wasn't really an option of just moving everything, because then it runs into, NPE and K and Plast and China Plast and I mean, because the reality is PLASTIMAGEN is up there with like the top 5 or 6 shows in the world in the plastics industry. I mean, it's that international, it's that big. And the shows have been planned, I mean, K's in every 3-year cycle, MBE's in every 3-year cycle. China Plast is every year. Plast in Milano is every 2 years. So, I mean, for us, and that's why, we made the decision that what we're doing in 2021 is not a PLASTIMAGEN, and that's why we're calling it PLASTIMAGEN Light, because we're really saying it's not the big show. I mean, the big show is moving from November 20 to March 2022. So we're basically postponing for 18 months, but due to the interest of, a reasonable number of our exhibitors, we didn't want to skip an entire 3 years of not doing something, because the companies want to sell their products and services. So that's why we're doing PLASTIMAGEN Light. So, I mean, in our perspective, we're really waiting 3 years between PLASTIMAGEN, right? So we're going from March 19 to March 22. We're just adding, the March 21, the PLASTIMAGEN Light. That's really just sort of compensating for the fact that we can't do PLASTIMAGEN in November of 2020.
So in that case, the PLASTIMAGEN in 2022 is going to be the normal version, or are you going to support with the virtual version, online version as well?
And it's a very good question, and everyone's talking about it in the industry. What are we going to do? Is hybrid going to be around forever? I think in general, most people are saying now that hybrid's probably going to be around for a while. So I certainly think we will have, some digital aspects in 2022, and then again in 2023 and 2025, and for the rest of the history. But we have to see. I mean, because again, using China as the example, I mean, no one talks about hybrid at trade shows in China. I mean, they're live events and they're happening. So I do think that it makes sense, especially given our cycle of every 18 months, that we will probably have more digital offerings, experiences, say, in the future than we would have in the past. And I think that's probably something all of us in the trade show industry are going to see. Thanks to COVID. I mean, there's always going to be people immunocompromised who might not be able to visit a show but still want to make connections. So I think it's something that will be more prevalent in the future. But I mean, we honestly have to see what happens. I mean, if all these vaccines get approved and they get logistically distributed in the next couple of years, it might be a case of that everything goes back to normal. I mean, but the reality is we just don't know right now. But I would assume that more digital is here to stay. I mean, if I had to bet on it, I would say there's going to be more digital in the future.
Thank you, Mr. Amour. And I would like to ask, do you have any message to the plastic rubber industry, like companies, like users, and also for our audience?
Yes, I mean, what I would like to say is, for any of your companies who have distributors or operations in Mexico, that they think seriously about taking a small participation live in PLASTIMAGEN Light. But your audience, there's a lot of people who are our exhibitors in our show normally, and we hope that they have great products and services, and we hope that they participate, if not live, then at least digitally, and we look forward to seeing them all in 2022. If they can't come in 2021. Yes. But yeah, I mean, everyone should visit our, our website, plastimagen.com.mx. It has information on 21 and on 22. Our registration page has been open for months, and like I said, that the registration for attendees. And so I mean, I think we will come out of this. It's very clear that people want face to face again. People want to go to events. So you know, that's we all have to be creative and how we're surviving this unfortunate situation. But we want and need the Taiwanese companies to be participating in Mexico in the future. So whether they can only participate digitally in 21 and then they come back in 22, or some of them can participate in 21 through reps and distributors, that will be great. But we look forward to continuing to work with all of your companies.
Well, thank you very much for your message, Mr. Paul, and also thank you very much for your time. We know that everyone is running these days due to COVID-19 and trying to find solutions for the industry. And also thank you very much to those who are watching this interview. And if you have any questions, please don't forget to leave any message in the comment section. Thank you very much.